Once Upon a Die is a twisted fantasy adventure podcast meant for adults. Content warnings can be found in the episode description. Hello and welcome to Once Upon a Die, the live play D&D podcast where natural ones just mean more fun. I'm your host, Sean McCallan, and I also play Jeff Buffgate.
My name is Grace Lee, and I play Melee.
My name is Austin Wolf, and I play Charvalco.
My name is Justin Tuthill. I play Halen Van Lichtenstein, and I forgot we were doing intros today.
I didn't know that. Hi, my name is Jonathan Curran, and I play Goon E Makeshift.
And finally, he plays all the bunnies in the forest and all the gnomes. It's Cody White.
Hello, that is me. My name's Cody White, and I will be your dungeon master for this session, and hopefully many others. Let's keep it going.
What's going to happen to you, Cody?
I don't know. Gingers are said to be going extinct.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
I love gingers.
Now, last session, you escaped the absolute wreckage of the Buckingham Arena. You went up to the top of the lighthouse and came upon 3 cultists performing a ritual. You engaged in battle, and my god, Charvalco killed everyone, basically, in the surprise round. You were able to effectively stop the ritual and relight the lighthouse, and that's where we are now. We are at the Lighthouse Keep. You have just woken up from your brief nap. Schmigley is still awake. He seemed to have been somewhat keeping watch over you. Y'all have a good rest? You feeling all right? You need any coffee? I brewed up some coffee. I don't know.
Grabs a mug and just chugs it down.
I grab
that
one
was
and
meant for everyone, but I'll go ahead and make up another pot. Don't worry. He shuffles off to his wood burner. Most of the chaos seems to basically dwindle down over the city, but you can definitely still hear cries and shouts coming from multiple injured people throughout the city. Smoke is still rising. You can see that daylight has come back. You hear a knock. You immediately see Schmigley drop the pot on the stovetop. He bustles off to the door and just don't mind me, keep yourselves company, and I'll handle whatever this is.
I'm going to look towards the door so I can see what's going on.
Okay. Schmigley cracks open the door, and you see 2 Imperial guards and another, what seems to be like a legionary. The legionary seems to be talking in quiet tones. If anybody wants to give a perception check, you can definitely listen into the conversation.
I'd also like to move closer to the door.
Yeah, and I also go to the door as well.
Yeah, that would be just fine.
I rolled a 1.
Oh!
I rolled a 1.
And we didn't do our bets.
We did not do
We
our
didn't do
bets.
Retcon, I bet on Grace.
Well,
Retcon, I bet
we
on
all
Grace.
have it already.
yeah, we all already have
Except for...
an extra.
Yes.
Did you bet on yourself?
You guys do, yeah.
So most of you would probably have opted out of your betting, I imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
But
During this, I'll have come down from upstairs, and Charvalco will be wiping his eyes and with slightly puffy eyes.
Alright, I see that.
I am not paying attention, therefore I will not do a perception roll.
I just
Fair
noticed
enough.
you have
I got a
puffy
15
eyes and
perception.
Okay.
I am
15, a 1.
I am still asleep in the corner facing the wall.
I got an 18.
You can hear the gist of the conversation is that the legionary has told Schmigley that he can vacate his post and that his services will no longer be needed. You have given the Empire a great service, but
I wanna walk
we
up.
will be taking it from here.
I want to walk up during a conversation.
I walk up. We go up. Can go up together.
I've
Both
actually
go up
ran into you
together,
and then tripped a little bit.
I walk up.
Schmigley has both of you at either shoulder. What do you say?
I got a little scared and tripped over the halfling because he's so small, so he probably talks first.
What perfect timing! You got here just in time, guys.
Right. Seem to have a little bit of trouble getting through the city. I guess we didn't make it quite in time, but luckily...
It was
seems
easier when the lights came on, wasn't it?
Yes, it very much was.
Just to let you know, without him, they're not back on today.
Roll me a perception. Or persuasion. I keep mixing those two up.
6.
6.
You have
Wait.
inspiration.
Yes.
Can I do the help action?
I'll allow Buffgate to give a help action.
Schmigley did everything that he needed to do. There's no reason for him to leave his post. This lighthouse is screwed without him.
Give me a roll with advantage.
So this is going to be my advantage roll, or I do 2 rolls now?
This is going to be your advantage roll. So you'll take the higher of whichever of these last 2 rolls.
8.
Nice.
8.
It was higher.
Do you add anything to that or no?
I subtract from the 9.
Oh, yeah.
As Tessio would have it, Legionary rolled a 5.
Just enough.
So your first roll would have won.
Yes, I understand that, but he's definitely technically capable, but no offense to you, Mr. Schmigley. As you can see, Mr. Schmigley here, unfortunately, is not physically capable of guarding this outpost.
He's not a warrior. Why weren't one of you helping with guarding?
Travalco will walk up at this point. It took all 5 of us, and we barely scraped out. Without additional guards, there's nothing anybody could have done.
That's a fair point you all make, but as you also may understand, the Tournament of Eras was going on at the grand reopening of the arena, and extra guards needed to be posted at the gates, the docks, and the arena itself.
And that's Schmigley's fault?
Yeah, I mean, you got every single guard and every single merc working at the arena. What was he supposed to do?
Schmigley doesn't need to leave. You just need to stay here.
We were the ones that got out of the arena with the fight. You did nothing on the side.
There was shadow monsters. There's nothing Schmegma could have done.
And you hear Schmigley.
And for what it's worth, I didn't even see the guards do that much at the arena to break up the fights that were going on there. The one fight that these 2 were in.
Did you fight anybody on your way here?
We fought plenty of zombies and skeletons on our way up here.
Can I do a perception check on their swords?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Give me a perception check.
I'd like to make one also.
Yeah, go for it. Both of you can make a perception.
Please help me.
Oh, God.
I'm doing a turn. Let's go.
Another one.
I got a 2, so my halfling luck doesn't
16.
even...
Let's go. What do the swords look like? 16.
I got an 8.
The ranger
I got
would
a
know
6
what the
total.
swords look like.
It's just a sword.
16.
You notice that there is a little bit of splattering on mainly the 2 guards, but the legionary, he seems to be a little bit more clean.
All right, guys, calm down. They did come through a fight to get here.
I'll walk up to the legionary and get really close and put my finger on his chest. How tall is he?
I would say he's probably about like 5'9".
Okay, I'm going to look
Yeah.
down on him because I'm like 6'2", and I'm going to ask him, staring in his face, getting really close, who gave the order to have Schmigley removed from his post?
You're going to have to give me a perception roll, or persuasion roll, to convince him.
I also have a -1.
Enjoy. You're going to have to convince him a little bit better than that.
I rolled another 4. That's a 3. He sees my puffy eyes.
It didn't work.
It didn't quite work.
I'm gonna come
Despite
up and
the-
put my hand on Travalco's shoulder. We're about the same height, so that's fine.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but as
And-
a lantern, we would be about
yeah.
the same height. So
And-
both of us are towering over him now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna tower over. I'm putting my hand on you we can calm down a bit, and I'm gonna look at you guys. I respect your battle prowess to get here. That being said, if you were here to fight off the miasma, would you have been able to fix the lighthouse? Everyone has a specific job. He did his.
You see, the legionnaire contemplates this. Your words are true. My lieutenant, these orders come from him. Perhaps I can talk to my lieutenant and tell him of Schmigley's part in relighting the lighthouse.
I understand you're just following orders, and that would help a lot. And if we need to speak with them too, I don't want it to come back on you.
I appreciate that.
I'll storm off and sit down on the couch with a
Well, Schmigley, if you're to be leaving your post, I suppose you can come with us to Xavier Darloc.
You see Schmigley perks up a little bit and he's like, yeah, like, definitely. I mean, I don't know what places might be open right now with everything being burned down, but he looks at the guards and he's like, I am not opposed to learning to guard the lighthouse, especially after today. I need to learn proper fighting techniques. I would happily buy myself some defenses if perhaps I could talk to Xavier Darloc and get some training.
As I mentioned, Xavier Darloc's name, I'd look over to the Legionnaire.
Give me an insight roll.
That's a 7.
Starting off strong, guys. Starting off strong.
The Legionnaire's face is empathetic but stony. Well, in the meantime, especially under these dire circumstances, perhaps we can have our 2 guards be stationed here while you go about with Schmigley.
That's probably a good idea.
So was that not the plan before? Who was going to stay here when Schmigley left?
We had an engineer from the Crescent Moon Institute that recently traveled here.
Can you leave both of them here? Guard? I'm sorry, Vanguard. What was your name again?
Name is Christian Orvelos.
Christian, would this be possible? 2 Lighthouse Keeps.
May have to do some budgeting, but
Trust me, when they put their mind to something, they can get it done. It doesn't matter. It just only matters if they want to do something. And I kind of look sharply towards the Legionnaire.
Christian looks directly back and, yes, I don't see why we can't figure something out, some sort of compromise. I will gladly speak to my superior about this. In the meantime, we will have 2 guards stationed, and Schmigley, we will be talking further about the future of the lighthouse.
Thank you,
And
Christian.
your
And I do
involvement.
the light watch salute to him.
He does a generic salute, fist in the air salute.
Travalco openly laughs at him.
Yeah, each of them look at you, and Christian looks dead in your eyes, and you right there, boy?
Yeah, I'm good. I was just laughing at you.
There's totally going to be unnecessary combat. 100%.
Travalco will stop laughing and be like, look, I'm sorry, I just killed somebody. I've never killed anybody before. I'm emotional. I apologize.
And then May goes and hugs him and
Give me a persuasion roll with advantage from May's help.
I will say while you
Got
guys are
another
rolling,
4. That's 3 4s in a row.
I got
That-
another crit fail.
saying
Wait, do I get advantage on that with her help?
Okay, so one of the guards, tandem of Christian, kind of gives you a shoulder grab, and he's like, "This is no time to be laughing. The entire city is in flames, and you're laughing." He looks at both of you, and he's like, "I know a ruse when I see one."
I interject myself in, do you think that's really necessary to be handling citizens like that?
Perception. Persuasion!
Travalco puts on his best, young, innocent boy, sad dog look to give Buffgate a advantage.
Oh, yeah, because Buffgate definitely needs the advantage.
He does need advantage.
Oh, he does need the advantage?
What'd you roll?
Okay, I'll give you the advantage.
13.
You see the guard releases his hand from Travalco's shoulder, and he puts it down at his side.
We're all comrades here. Tensions are high. There are man-eating zombies out there.
I suppose we all got a little bit ahead of ourselves. And he does a side eye at Travalco. He steps back in line. Christian looks at all of you, and he's like, if you won't mind, our 2 guards will be staying here.
Yes,
I need to go report back to my superior.
Yes, perhaps we should go to Xavier.
I'll go, just kind of shake Goonie with my foot.
So were we sleeping upstairs and then the guards were downstairs? Or
You
how
were
did that work?
You were downstairs.
We were downstairs. Okay.
There was the ground level of the lighthouse, and there's a bit of a living quarters down there.
So I'll go shake him with my foot to wake him up.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. What?
You shake him more.
I just keep shaking him with my foot. I don't say anything. I just shake him.
What?
We gotta go. If you want in on the reward, you should come, I guess.
Who do we have to go talk to again? I don't even. Jesus. I'm tired.
Xavier Darloc or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, let me get my stuff. I smell coffee. Where is it?
I finished the other pot. Sorry about that, guys.
You can actually hear it starting to whistle on the stovetop at this point.
Sounds like the coffee's done. So I'm going to go get some of that, pack my bag up. That's about it.
I'm going to come back in for coffee, too. She took all of it, so...
The guards, one of them stays outside, one of them comes inside along with you, and you notice the Legionnaire starts marching his way down the hill.
Schmigley, you got cream and sugar?
Oh, yes. He goes off into a little ice box.
I put in so much cream and sugar in my... Like, there's barely, like, any coffee.
We expected that from Buffgate.
You go through
I love that.
Like, you go through his supply of cream in and of itself.
There's, like, a splash of coffee in it.
Did you say the soldiers come in for coffee?
One of the soldiers comes inside.
Which soldier is it? Is it the one that grabbed my shoulder?
The soldier that grabbed your shoulder is actually outside next to the Rhodes shoulder.
His name is Coulter.
His name is Coulter.
Coulter, the shoulder holder.
Okay, in that case, I will allow the other soldier to have some coffee.
He kind of looks at Schmigley a little bit, and Schmigley is like, "Oh, of course. You're a guest in my lighthouse. Of course I'm going to serve you. Please, have some coffee." He sighs as he takes a sip, just... Thank you. It's been a day.
Upon seeing the guard, the color leaves my face, and I hide myself on the other side of the room. I sit crisscross applesauce facing the wall, drinking my coffee.
I can say that the guard doesn't seem to be paying Goonie any mind.
That's what he was hoping for.
I'm going to grab 2 small cups of coffee and bring one out to the guard without a word outside and come back in.
He takes it silently. No words, but a quiet understanding.
I actually approach Halen. So I hear you're from Blightwatch?
Yep.
Me too.
You're from Blightwatch?
Yeah, Atherton. Haven't been back for a few years, but...
What got you out of that hellhole?
Long story. It could take all day. Or 2. I guess I missed the place.
You missed the place.
Well, there's some parts of it I did miss, but...
You missed the food?
Well, I mean, let's just say I had good food.
You knew somebody. I got slop every day, 3 times a day.
I mean, I thought I wanted to join the Blightwatch Guard, but I had this whole thing where I'd come to here and join the generic Imperial Guard. That worked out well for me.
Some kind of undercover? No one chooses the generic.
Anything to get out of Blightwatch.
That checks out. You want back?
Maybe someday.
I can put in a word with Brass on my end.
It's alright. I got a good life here. Got a place to live. Got coin. Got good drink.
Better things to look at.
Yeah, so not too bad. Anyways.
Well, this has been nice, but there's coin waiting. I don't know if you guys want to join me. Nobody here looks like a noble, so I suggest we get on the move.
Coin sounds good.
Coin is why I do what I do.
You get to walk, Goonie?
All you hear is the door close, and the door close, and Goonie's not in the building anymore.
Yeah, everybody give me a perception check. I'm going to be doing one for Schmigley
right?
as
Yeah,
well.
just the front door.
13.
Schmigley, don't
I got an
see
18!
shit. Yeah, you definitely see the back of Goonie.
You said perception check?
Perception.
11.
Okay.
This is actually perception, not
Plus 4, 22!
He's like, this one's actually perception.
I got a 22.
Okay. Yeah, you see the back of Goonie as he swings the door behind him, and you hear a clack as the door closes.
I sprint after him.
Yep.
Just catching up.
Come on, Schmigley. You're going to talk to Darloc with us.
You go down the hill towards the city.
Once we get to a point where the guard standing outside becomes like a dot, but enough to where you could see movement, I will stop, look back at him, and give him the salute, and just start laughing and walk away.
Straight up mocking salute, just like arm half cocked out sideways, pointed at a way far off bias, and just over accentuating that fist way up in the air, just.
But it's at a distance that's far enough to where he would have to run for a long way. So it's kind of,
If anything, he saw it as a regular salute. From the distance.
He's like, I was wrong about that guy.
Yeah, you actually...
what a stand-up fella.
You see him return the generic salute.
He's like, hell yeah, brother.
I knew that was a good guy on the inside.
Well, I guess he had time enough to think after all that. As you're walking down, you can see the great city walls to your left-hand side.
Passively, as we're walking, this doesn't have to come up as a big thing, but I'm always keeping an eye out for Melvin, just in case he made it.
I'm gonna see if Crutch is around too, or just to keep my eye out for Crutch to see if he made it out.
I'll allow keeping your eyes open for that.
Depending on which route we take, would we pass by an area where I might see Fargo?
It's possible, especially if you're going... make an active perception check, the three of you looking out for specific people.
As we're walking through the city, now that the lighthouse is relit, are we still seeing zombies around town? Or
the zombies have seemed to deanimate it.
Upon entering, back into the city, I look around and I see all the devastation, and I got a 22 perception check to look out for Fargo.
And I do the same too. People I know.
Looking for Crutch?
Yeah, looking for Crutch.
Certainly.
I'm not looking for anyone, and my body is wrapped in my green cloak, and I have my hood pulled up, partially because of the smell.
You're completely illegal, aren't you?
I got 14.
Yeah, I am not supposed to be here.
I'll start with Charvalco because you came up with your roll first. As you come across the Mudburbs district, Charvalco, you notice among the corpses, you see Fargo. Half of his torso has been eaten away.
I instantly rush over, typical, straight to the knees, weeping.
I'm looking around to make sure that we're not drawing attention because he's crying so loudly. I imagine there's other people around us crying too, so it's really not that normal.
Going through the city, you're seeing multiple different people just sobbing or looking into the middle distance.
So no one's really caring that we're drawing.
I'd say at least half of the people are just in
doing the same
complete
thing.
shock.
Yeah.
Another half of the people are trying to help where they can.
I'm going to take a knee 3 feet away from him so that he has space, because I don't think that I'm necessarily the person to go up and put a hand on him or anything, but I'm going to have a presence.
After a few seconds of just full weeping, I will regain a little bit of composure. I want to search him for the 2 gold pieces that I gave him, and for some sort of...
Everybody in the party give me an insight check.
Crit!
Yeah.
Success?
Yes!
I rolled a 19 as well, so I got 22.
Schmigley got a nat 20 as well.
21.
Wow.
Oh my god. So we're all just you.
And that's going to
I'm not
be
paying
a
attention.
what from Goonie?
I rolled a 3.
Oh.
Because I'm not paying attention.
I wasn't
I'm looking
necessarily...
around to make sure
I
that
was
we're
being
not drawing
subtle,
attention.
but not necessarily
That's fair.
I'm selfish.
actively hiding it.
The rest of you kind of notice the sanctity of this moment and that he's not doing this out of greed, but out of respect.
Yeah.
And then, is it possible for me to see if his brother Fergal is around?
That would take some searching.
That would take searching.
Okay.
Then I see this. Hey kid, I'm sorry. Here. This might take the edge off, and I hand him my flask.
I pass it off. Would I have found a trinket of some sort, whether it be a necklace or even a stone he kept in his pocket?
You would have found the gold on him, but he was in the glums, so he didn't have a whole lot of material possessions. If anything, he would have kept it at his house.
Did he have shoes?
Yeah.
I'll take his shoelace. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and add that to your equipment under Fargo's shoelace. As you pass the bridge into the richer side of the city. There's still fires going off everywhere. You see a gargantuan cathedral. This is the illustrious Temple of Pog. The main pantheon of gods are worshipped at this epicenter. You can see statues encircling the entire church of each god, and it does not seem to be in half the amount of shambles as the rest of the city seems to be.
Hey, Melee, you ever been in there?
I'm not really the religious type. Actually, I've been told that I'd burn if I enter within 10 feet of a church, so...
Funny, someone told me kind of the same thing.
Schmigley gives both of you a look. You don't believe in the gods?
More like the gods didn't believe in me.
I don't really think it matters if they're real or not. Clearly, they don't care about us, and he just kind of ushers to everything around.
The gods allowed my homeland to be destroyed.
If they're real.
If they're real.
You did see the rift open in the sky. I mean, if there are anti-gods, there have to be gods, right? I've been working for the Lumin Lighthouse. The lighthouse that was named after luminescence, the god of the sun.
Gods are not. They're actual people that are hurting, and they've been hurting. So, well and good, all well and good, but what matters most is what is right in front of us right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't believe in any god, and I fixed the lighthouse. I didn't know who the god of the lighthouse was, and they didn't show up and help us do anything, and I almost died.
Schmigley's eyes dart to the ground. He's like, well, I suppose you got a point there, but...
Schmigley, don't let anybody take your faith. Just because I don't believe in it doesn't mean you got to as well.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Yeah, just don't... I don't know, it's bigger than me or something.
He nods and looks back down at the ground, contemplatingly.
It's a nice church. I'll give it that.
Travalco will look at the
building.
church, just to himself. Just say, Fargo. And then put his hat on low, covering his eyes, and keep walking.
Are we going to be walking for a bit unabated?
Unabated, yes.
Okay. I'm going to walk up to Schmigley and ask him what his favorite book is and have him tell me about that book on the way.
He starts going off on a few different nonfiction books, giddily talking with you.
While we're walking along and they're having that conversation, I happen to be walking next to Melee. You're much larger than me, right? You're bigger. You're like...
I'm like 5'6" human, so...
Yeah, so you're like twice my height.
Easily.
Even with my boots on. You seen a lot of this? He doesn't even look up. He's just kind of walking stone-faced.
A lot of what?
This. And he's ushering to all the chaos and the death and the...
I've seen a lot of shit in my life. I have never seen anything like this before. And trust me when I say I've seen a lot of shit in my life. I've seen things that will give people nightmares. And this is the worst of them.
You one of the good guards? He's like hyper aware of his distance from you.
I'm not a guard anymore. I haven't been a guard for years. And I want to keep it just for that story of how I'm not a guard anymore. So if I'm a good guard, bad guard, I'm not even a guard. But if you're wondering, no, I'm no jackboot.
That's good to know.
Before we leave the church, Jeff Buffgate's going to walk up to some kind of statue of Aviana, and he's just going to pull out two little dolls. One's a tiny little marionette, and another's tiny, like, porcelain doll. He's just going to hold them up, kiss them both, put them back in his pocket, and move on.
You pass upon the Stone Star Inn, and as a matter of fact, this is where, Grace, you actually see Crutch outside of the Stone Star Inn, and he looks exhausted.
So I run up to him, I'm like, Crutch, Crutch!
He slowly looks up at you.
And I run towards him, I like kind of crouch down so I get to his level.
Cover?
Yeah, what the fuck happened? Shit, then I dig in my pouch to find my second healing potion.
See if this helps you. Appreciate it, Cover. He takes it back like a quick shot and just... What happened? You tell me. I saw you in the middle of it while I was leaving the arena.
Yeah, I don't know, crazy story for another day. Once this is over, We need to get drinks at the Rusty Coat Hanger. I'll buy us all a pint. But man,
Yeah, drinks are on you, Cover. You owe me for last night.
we need a healer. We need to get you to a healer, a cleric, somebody.
I'm gonna come up and go for the cure wounds. Is he really hurt on his side?
He's very hurt. Like he has not moved his arm from his side, and like you can see a big puddle of blood seeping through his tunic.
I rip off a piece of my shirt, and then I, as best as I can, hold it down in the wound, just trying to keep it as. Is that not gonna?
Sorry to do this to you. Give me a medicine check.
Do we need a roll for the healing potion?
Not for the healing potion.
Okay.
I was going to give but if you want to do a cure wounds, that would also, I would give you that as well.
Yeah, I see. I'm not trying to be up on anybody's business, so I've been watching from a distance, her talking to this man.
Oh, actually, if you can heal him, then.
Yeah, and I'm gonna come up, seeing what's going on for cure wounds. 4.
That healing potion that you gave him really got him actually really good.
Oh, damn.
But you can see he moves his hand away and he places it on his knee, and he's almost trying to get up at this point.
I help him. I see to support him.
Okay.
My weight.
Yeah. He's like
Looks like
everything went to damn well shit. We better be getting hazard pay for this, right, Cover?
I know, right? It looks like we need a crutch for crutch. Oh man.
Thank you, folk. I feeling a little bit better now. I don't know where them skellies came from, but
yeah, they came out of nowhere. Oh, and we had to fight a bunch of cultists too. Can you believe that?
Like, cultists?
Yeah, there are tons of cultists.
Like,
Sorry, I've had a little coffee, so I'm a little jittery right now.
That's fair. I'm just feeling a little faint myself. If I had some coffee, I mean, I'd take some, but
I'm gonna slip away to let you guys talk in peace.
You say you ran into some cultists? What they look like?
I mean, it was all.
And you remember them wearing very dark charcoal robes, and you described the pendant that you came across, and he kind of looks at you and he's like, some of the guys were talking about some sort of symbol like that.
Yeah, do you know anything about it?
Well, I mean, I listen in as well as you do around the place, and some of the guys, they have been talking about this symbol lately, and I mean, maybe you might want to talk to Uncle Greg.
So, Uncle Greg, I guess I should pay him a visit.
I mean, I would talk to him. That would be the first person I'd talk to.
I turn to everyone who's near in this vicinity in the group, and I look over to see who's around. I kind of yell out, "Who wants to go to the Rusty Coat Hanger?"
Is that where Xavier's meeting us? Or
We passed it. We have somewhere to be.
After.
definitely after.
Yeah.
We could. Yeah.
Crutch looked Melee in the eye and he's like, I think I'm going to be all right now.
You sure, man?
I think so. I'm going to make my way back to Crook's Creek, and I'm just going to hole up at my spot, and you going to be all right, Cover? Like, he kind of looks around and he's like, you in good company? You all right?
Yeah, these guys are cool.
Like, all right. Like,
For the most part.
any of these fuckers rub you the wrong way, you best know we'll be taking out their legs for you. They'll be the ones in crutches.
That's why I love you, man.
Damn right, sister. You be careful out there. There's a lot of shit going down in this city right now.
You too. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, Cover. Huh?
Take care, Crutchy.
Like, he gives each of you a wave, and he goes off on his way as you make your way towards the Imperial Hall of Paladins. You go further down the main road. You go through a few ritzy districts, the Garden District, also the Ethereum Minstrel Center, as you see a large complex with multiple different gods adorning its architecture. You can see Madamon winking and finger gunning down towards the people. You come across the gates and you see 2 guards holding off the gates from any people that are coming. You see a bit of a crowd as well, gathered outside of the Imperial Hall of Paladins.
I am going to cast Disguise Self on myself to look like her son. Because I'm small.
Look like Melee's son.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure there's like a limit. I can't like make myself taller and
you
like that.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to make yourself into like a large character.
And I want to look harmless, so yeah, I look like her kid, and I'm holding her hand as we go in there.
You successfully are able to disguise yourself as a young Meradrian child that has quite a spitting image of Melee, as a matter of fact. You come across the crowd, and you nudge your way to the front, and you can see the 2 guards up at the front, and they're holding everybody back, and they're like, "Listen, everyone, we will be able to take your queries in due time. Until then, it would be safest if you would stay in your houses and wait until further instruction. Please, return to your homes."
So I'm gonna walk up to the guard. "Hello, we're here to see Xavier Darloc. He's expecting us."
You can tell that it's a elven woman. She looks at you. She's like, "Listen, honey. If I let every person that dropped Xavier's name today into the IHOP complex, we would be overswarmed."
Oh, well, if Xavier doesn't want to know about the party that fixed the lighthouse, then we'll just go. We'll just leave. Let's go, guys. And I turn around.
Wait. You fixed the lighthouse?
Yep. I push Schmigley up in front.
And Schmigley is just put on the spot, like right in front of these grand guards of the Empire, and he's like, "Yes, ma'am. These fine folk, they all helped restart the lighthouse. They escorted me to the top, and they just want to speak with the captain, and like that." He kind of looked like, you spoke to the captain, yes?
Yes.
Yes, they just want to speak to the captain. I suppose that they know him. You know,
Trust me. Xavier is expecting us. He told us himself that we were to come see him as soon as we were done fixing the lighthouse.
Any names whatsoever?
He did not get our names. He does not know our names.
Give me a persuasion check.
That is an 11.
All right.
Tell him it's the 5 from the arena. He'll know what you mean.
The 5 from the arena. You know, half of the people that have been asking for Xavier came from the arena.
Were there 5 of them each time?
Were they in the arena? Were they fighting the light? Were they fighting the lightning?
I mean, I couldn't say that they were necessarily fighting along Xavier. Wait.
Because we were.
He was in a column of light when we saw him in the center of the arena. Cultists were coming up to him and fighting him.
Yes, there was a lot going on, actually. Dren? You see the other guard comes up. Dren, go off to the complex. Go find Xavier. Tell him that there's 5 people waiting for him down here. They say they're from the arena. Say they fought next to him, but listen, I don't know, but I mean,
Don't forget the lighthouse.
And yes, the lighthouse as well. Go find Captain. Let him know that there are some people waiting here for him. Like, you wait for, like, about 5 minutes. You watch Dren leave, and he comes back. He whispers into the guard that you were speaking to's ears, and she looks you all over, and Dren escorts you to the complex. You go through a labyrinth of hallways and staircases. Most of the shorter people, through all of this entire time, it's definitely gotten your cardio up.
Is he still like my child?
Kid?
He's still your child.
So they think that Xavier Darloc was like, yeah, okay, so the 4 of you and your child need to go.
Yeah, they didn't
They
ask
think
any questions.
Darloc is a
They didn't ask
nut
any
job.
questions.
Oh, man. It's the kind of thing you do, eh?
I'm trying to fly under the radar over here,
That's
and you're
so
trying to expose me.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
If you see him as a child, he's not going to recognize you. Therefore, Goonie doesn't get his reward.
Are we,
No,
are
I
we
think-
having this
I
conversation?
think he's going to
The
pop
thought
out of it
process
in that.
in Charvalko's mind as
psychic?
he's walking along these
Yeah,
corridors,
ESP.
just like, oh, we've got one less share on this. That means more for me.
I was like, take your son to work day.
She's a single mother, and she can't afford daycare.
He's a strong lad.
The worst day for taking your son.
Oh my god. You see Dren kind of looks back at you, looks down, and he's like, I wouldn't have even asked anything. I mean, he looks at Jeff Buffgate, he's like, honestly, don't call me ageist, but I thought he was a child too.
Can I roll for perception to see if I heard that?
Yeah, go ahead and roll perception for that.
I did not hear that.
He did
not hear that at
He
all.
did not hear it.
That was a 6 total. I rolled a 2.
He was very like sly and to the side with Melee about that, and just like, oh, don't forgive me. It's just like a lot of small folk around here. You understand?
His father died in the whole thing yesterday, so
My condolences.
I'm gonna give him a little pat on the head. It's okay, son. Tassel his hair a little bit.
You are not my dad.
But I'm always here for you.
Okay.
It's the last thing.
Mom, can I stand on the other side of you?
Being a dad ain't blood, boy.
This man is making me nervous.
And you see Dren pulls Halen aside, and he's like, "All in due time, there, chap. All in due time."
And that makes me super nervous since he doesn't know the situation.
Yeah, you're actually really perplexed.
I recoil in full confusion about what's going on with this Dren fella.
And I understand it's tough sometimes. Fathers are lost some in the wars and battles, and he'll come around.
Hey, Dren,
I
how much
promise.
longer is it going to be until we get there?
Oh, just another 4 flights of stairs, I imagine. I think we'll be up there.
4 flights? Let's play the quiet game on the way up.
Oh, I love the quiet game.
Perfect. You could win.
I bet he uses that with his son
Lydia
all the
always,
time.
Lydia always wants me to play that game.
We're starting now.
He automatically just his lips purse together, just as tight as 2 sheets of paper. All business goes up the stairs as if he's on march. You head up these 4 more flights of stairs, and there's multiple different guards bustling, and you see a few nobles hurriedly going around you. But you reach these double doors that span up about 2 floors above you. Have 5 people here to see Captain. The guard automatically opens the doors leading into Xavier Darloc's
As we
office.
walk in, I'm going to say, you lost.
You see Xavier, hands in his head, fingers at temple. He hears you as you come in and hears you say that, and he, lost. I suppose our definitions of lost and stalemate are different, I guess. Sure, we definitely saw some losses, but the city still stands.
I was talking to your boy.
Whatever you say. Please leave us. Dren closes the doors behind you.
As Dren leaves, I just pat him on the shoulder and say, "In good time, chap."
Like he sucks up a gulp of air and just nods to you knowingly. Just thanks, mate.
I love this guy.
Thanks, mate. He closes the door with a slight smile going across half of his face as he closes the door behind him. And Xavier turns towards 3 windows looking out over the Buckingham Lake. And he has his hands behind his back as he looks out upon the city. You've all done very well. I appreciate your help in this matter. He turns and looks at you all. What did you face up there?
More of those cultist robed guys, and it was like a shadow, but it was standing up.
And Xavier's eyes narrow, like an absence of light.
Yeah,
Almost like a negative of me.
but much taller and skinnier.
You see him bite his bottom lip, and just in pure anger, and you see a little pulse on his forehead.
Like in a creepy way, like in a creepy way.
Like a slender man.
Right. Yes. Much weaker in stature than one such as me. I understand. His expression relaxes after that, and he seems put at ease of this slender man comparison. Yes, there's no way they could have been as thick as me.
He thick.
Says the child in the back of the room.
No, he didn't say that.
Says the child, bro.
It's like, son.
That was an internal monologue.
Manners.
Mommy, he think he thick.
Oh.
You saw these shadows, and were the cultists controlling them?
They came out of the swirling lightning clouds, kind of like what was over the arena, but inside the lighthouse.
It's obviously connected. They may have been stopping the lighthouse from getting started in the first place. He notices Schmigley, and he looks at him and immediately recognizes him and said, "What exactly went wrong? You know the lighthouse in and out, don't you?" And Schmigley immediately just starts sweating.
I'll put my hand on Schmigley's shoulder.
I'm going to step forward and say, with Schmigley's help, we were able to turn the lighthouse back on, no problem.
Yeah, Schmigley
If he hadn't been there, we probably would have died. And yes,
the only
I
thing
am
that
still
went
a
wrong
child.
is Schmigley was left alone. The only thing that went wrong is some lesser commander left him alone.
Xavier leans in on his chair. What are you trying to say there? Lesser commander? Who's this lesser commander that you speak of? Because I will make sure that they are put in line.
We're not going to bring anything back on him. He was just doing his job.
Oh, I was talking about Xavier.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that yet. That was out of character. That was out of character.
Oh, that's fair. But yeah, I'll give you this. Just based on what he said, you can tell, Xavier knows that you would not be talking about him. You can tell that, the thought of him being the non-superior officer, hell no, that's not him. That's somebody under him.
Off the record, if you get us into a fight with him,
I'm not going to get
we're gonna. It'll end the entire thing.
That'll be.
He'll murder us. He'll slaughter us.
I know.
We would lose that fight.
He just goes Super Saiyan 3.
Guys, I think at level 2 we can win, okay?
Oh, yeah, yo, I just got you made. Magic.
That gets you to level 10, so, I mean, you might be able to,
I get to use that hunter's mark.
He's level 10.
How many levels do we get if we beat Xavier?
Oh.
How many levels
Now
do
it's
I
interesting.
get if I'm the only one that survives?
Dude, how many levels does he get if he does it as a child the whole time?
Also that.
Yeah.
Immediate level 20.
Immediate level 20. I won't say names, but if the blame is put on Schmigley,
And that's going to be a problem.
And he looks over at Jeff. What are there actually threats being put out right now?
There are no threats.
You come into my office. I ask you for a report on what happened, and you come back and threaten.
I'm saying without Schmigley, that lighthouse will fail again, and this whole city will have a problem like it just had.
I understand this might be an issue with the guard, the Imperial Guard, and the Great Hall of Paladins, where, yes, the greater you are, the more you're a hero to the city. Maybe sometimes you miss what is actually there with the people who live the streets, who take care of the people that support the city, people like Schmigley, who are the backbone of the city.
He looks at you and he's furrowed brow, multiple lines just stretched across his head. You're saying I may have lost touch.
Respectfully, sir, I understand how, from my experience, the greater you become, the more you rise in the ranks. Of course, you're going to be making the decisions for the whole of the city and for the whole of the Hall of Paladins, but there might be some things that would naturally be overlooked in this case.
You see, he considers this. I suppose with some of my inheritance of greatness, I may have lost sight of where I may have come from. I appreciate your service. Not just the party, but the entirety of the city. I respect respect your position.
I'm gonna give Schmigley 2 pats on the back.
Thank you, sir. Means a lot hearing that coming from you. And Xavier nods. Do you know anything about these shadow creatures? Did you see them do anything, any of the cultists? Did you see anything that they might have done? I remember them coming in, and they didn't brandish their weapons at me, but their gaze, it just struck an unknowing fear into my heart, and they told me that I could live or die. It wouldn't matter one way or the other. But if I died, I might as well be helping Krungle himself. I knew if I fought back, I would not survive. I snuck a look before you all came, and I saw what they were doing just before the rift came out. The shadow came from the lighthouse. They corrupted the crystal, sir. We may not be able to use the lighthouse after this. Xavier looks him very sternly up and down. Corrupted how? They performed a ritual that used the crystal's power as some sort of conduit to enable the rift in the sky to form. An absence of light went out from the lighthouse immediately into the sky, and that's when I saw the split. I immediately ran downstairs, and I hid. I hid until I heard someone come through the door again. I thought it was more cultists, but it was these group of fellows. They said they were here to help, and I let them through. I went up and helped them, but I have a feeling that the crystal may be compromised. If they were able to pervert it in any sort of way, I may need to look at the crystal myself to see if it's even usable from here on out.
If they can corrupt the crystal, is there no way we can get it back? Maybe somebody from Ethereum or Firebird College knows?
Perhaps one of them might know, but most likely the Crescent Moon Institute would know more about it. They do have Professor Black, after all, leading the crystal researching. He's made leaps and bounds. Now, you said you encountered cultists. Did you find anything on any of them? Might I see that? He holds out his hand and takes it, and he studies it over a good long minute. And he looks at all of you, and he's found one of these amulets on the cultists that I brought over here. The amulet was shattered, but this one is actually intact. I found a few of these same, he indicates the crystal gem embedded in the amulet. I found a few of these crystal shards scattered across the arena and the city on the way here. Maybe that there is some connection between the two. I'm not familiar with this symbol, but I know that Professor Black would certainly know more about these crystals than I. But as for the organization itself, I mean, there's no one in the Firebird University that would know of this, unfortunately. But there may be someone that you may be able to get in touch with. If you go to Professor Lalich in Harvard University, that's in the Bougie Republic, she is the head researcher of the occult. She knows of every cult that has been in existence since the Fourth Era. If there's anyone that would know of this symbol, it would be her. I would personally suggest going to Professor Black in the Crescent Moon Institute. The shards spread across the city are a bad omen, and the fact that these gems are encrusted in the same amulets as the supposed servants of what I can only imagine is Krungle himself, then we need to figure out what these crystals mean and where and who they belong to. I don't know any of you, but these are troubling times. The Empire can use every bit of help that it can. Despite me being a very capable captain, I am not omniscient nor omnipotent. I am not a god, unfortunately, and I cannot protect everyone at one point. I want to ask you all if you would help me in this matter.
Before I answer him, I'm going to lean down to Schmigley and say loud enough for everyone to hear that your tactical decision to survive is what gave us this information. Know that. Don't let anybody pull that down from you. Survival is what is saving us now.
He nods. We all want to keep on living, don't we? Xavier nods at that. That is certainly something that I can agree with. I want us all to keep living.
I can't speak for everybody, but I'll do my best to help.
I'm helping the people who cannot help themselves. Just know that. That's who I'm supporting.
You know, give me a group persuasion check. Everybody make a roll. I'm going to take the highest result.
15.
20.
I rolled a 5. I'm a child right now. I'm not being very
15.
persuasive.
Got a 20 on the highest roll. And Xavier's looking at all of you, and I hate admitting it. I know that everyone needs help at one point or another. And I know when to accept that help. And I see some of you, and it seems that you want what's best for the people, just as I. But this is the generic empire, and we have to go through the right bureaucracy. I want to commission you for some work, but I only trust you 5. Besides me, in the center of that arena, there was no one but me and you 5, and an army of undead and cultists. Now, you did not try to stop me, so I must assume that you are also on my side. Quite frankly, if you hadn't snapped me out of that, I may have lost myself. I would not have been able to adhere to my duties protecting the Emperor, and I thank you for that, humbly. With that being said, you being the only ones I am able to trust, I wish to commission you officially as independent contractors of the Imperial Hall of Paladins. It is within my power as captain to pay and commission the services of privateers.
So we're fancy mercs, is what you're saying.
You're very fancy mercs.
And you owe
are
us a life debt.
officially working under IHOP itself. So any mercenary guild that you may have been a part of, it's small pickings. You are, for all intents and purposes, working with the Empire.
So from what you just said, sounds like we not only saved the city, we saved King, we saved the Empire.
I suppose you could go about it that way, but I was also trying to stop the rift from opening in the first place. Now I do, and I have already said this, that I appreciate your help in this matter, and I do appreciate your continued help in this matter as well. But I would refrain from saying that you personally saved the Emperor. You did not storm the castle. You did not fight what I fought up there. You fought your own battle. I fought mine. I would respect that.
And we do respect that, Captain. There was talk of a reward. Before we take on this new contract, we have to settle up this first mission.
A deep inhale. And just...
Good job, Buffgate.
Yes.
Make sure we get
and
paid.
I think
You're correct about that.
And I can save us some time on some of the paperwork. I already have a business in the city. Jeff goes into his pocket just like, I've already got some blank contracts. As it happens, Buffgate is a very eclectic shop. We do a lot of contract work, so you could save us a lot of time. Time is of the essence.
Yeah, you're correct about that. He hithers for the contracts and looks them over. He looks at you, he's like, most of these seem to be in order. We'll have to make a few adjustments as to your status within the Empire. But seeing as how you will be working directly with the Imperial Hall of Paladins, I may be able to put in the expedition of a few magical permits for some of you. He looks Charvalco and Goonie dead in the eye.
The child?
Oh, yeah, the child. Never mind. He does not
still a
look
child.
Goonie in the eye. Yeah, he's still just a child
this
to
dude is
him.
enlisting.
That's
a
why I
child.
haven't
So
really
he
said
looks
anything.
Charvalco kind
I'm
of
still holding his
like
hand, too.
kind of looks Charvalco in the eye.
Travalco has his hat like very low, covering his eye.
You will be under a non-disclosure agreement. You will not be speaking of any of this, save for the people that we have explicitly talked about here. We don't know who we are dealing with at this time. The more that the idea of these cultists gets about, I'm afraid to say, the more that their word might spread. Can we agree that we will be keeping this under very tight lips?
Under one stipulation.
Speak.
There are some in the group that may have a sordid history with the law, and they should be expunged.
You have problems with the Empire, young one.
It might not be me.
So you're asking for a pardon.
If we have to sign an NDA for you, then our histories are an NDA too.
Give me a persuasion check with advantage.
Do better.
The best one was an 8.
Nice. Nice.
I feel like it was a fair.
solid roll.
Yeah, I feel like it was a fair thing to ask for.
Solid roll.
8's a strong number.
Eight is
It's a
strong
number.
Eight represents new beginnings.
But if we turn it sideways, I got
the
an
infinity
infinity.
sign.
Oh, wow.
It's the infinity sign.
Wow, yeah.
I'm just
got,
saying,
like,
it was an
infinity.
infinite roll. It's perfect.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't
wait.
think of that.
Wait, I still have another inspiration from last
Don't
time.
you really? Good job remembering. Go for it, dude.
16.
Okay, that
Yeah.
That's
succeeds.
2 8s. That's 2 8s.
Double.
Yeah, that yes, exactly.
Double 8.
That was with
if
a
you
negative
combine-
1.
With a 16, I would be able to respect some off-color backgrounds if you were to grant the same respect to keeping this under wraps. We could show you
I
the same
immediately
respect.
write that into the contract.
That is fair. You're kind of making amendments to the contract as you go along. You can see that obviously he's putting in amendments about you will disclose any information about the amulet, and that you will technically also be working under IHOP and under his direct supervision. You are a shadow group, and you are not known or recognized by the Empire. That is another major clause that he puts in.
I'm also putting it in as everyone in the party is basically like employees of Buffgate Industries, just to like get it.
I'm gonna need to read over these contracts.
You know that means you have to pay us health insurance, right?
Yeah, and time off and maternity leave.
Yeah. Time off, maternity leave.
I'm gonna add that stuff into the pay section of the contract. Just like
Perfect.
I have a lot of overhead that I need to cover for my employees.
You should add in that we get unlimited health potions.
That's the health plan you get.
Unlimited health potions.
When you
It's a great health
express,
plan.
He automatically sees this and he's just nixes that. But he looks at some of the other ones and he's like, maternity leave.
And paternity too, like parental leave, parental.
He's like,
it's for the kids.
And he includes parental just.
Let's not make
fine.
it gendered, okay?
Yeah, he's tired.
I'm gonna like huddle everyone and explain that I'm adding you all in as employees for Buffgate Industries in case anything happens with this contract. That's an extra layer of protection.
Do we get an employee discount?
I'd be more than happy to help outfit all of us.
I'm gonna split off and give you a warriors. You know that forearm. Go for the forearm handshake. We have a deal. Yeah.
He locks arms with you and he's like, very good of you, Blightwatch. But this is going to have to be written down, of course, as well.
we
It
have
already
that
Handshake is not going to do this.
This is just between you and me, man.
I'm gonna pass the contract around for everybody to sign.
I whisper to Jeff, I'd rather work for you than the generic empire. Thank you for this.
Of course. And I whispered to May, we can find more loopholes this way as well.
We need to get an LLC to put the company in.
Xavier seems relatively satisfied at this point. The fact that you willingly signed a contract with him and were pledging that you were going to help uncover information about this amulet and report it back to him was satisfying enough for him.
And that's all gone now.
Yeah, he agreed. He agreed
to expunge us of our.
Yeah, he agreed to the pardon.
He didn't say the. Okay,
we put it in the contract.
It was in the contract that our historical.
You said about a pardon, but like you also said, you wouldn't bring our backgrounds into question. So, like you said something along those lines.
I specifically said expunged.
You did, but his response was more of like, he's not going to ask about our backgrounds as opposed to wiping the slate clean.
I specifically said expunged.
You did, but I'm saying his response to that was more so along the lines of not expunging, but just being like a don't ask, don't tell type thing. Like
exactly.
he's not gonna.
I explained it multiple times for him to agree to. It was completely about our history with the law. And you asked about it being our history with the law.
Mm-hmm.
When I said yes.
And he also brought up like, oh, you want to be pardoned. And honest, like I can tell you, he would say like, let's say this is happening actually almost at the signing of the contract, and I am high up, but I am not the emperor. I cannot give out pardons, but I can commission people for independent contracting. And where they come from, I don't need to ask details of where you might have come from. Just like you don't need to be telling anybody about the details of your mission. I could arrest some of you just under suspicion of holding this cultist's amulet in and of itself. It's got a magical gem embedded in its circling. The fact that I am overlooking that, and The fact that you are being cooperative with me also rests my mind at ease. But it is not within my power to expunge anything that you may have done in your past. But I am willing to overlook those unsavory aspects of your background in favor of the service that you could do for me and the people of the sphere.
Are you willing to pay us now?
Yes, I did promise you some coin reward for helping at the beginning. He calls in Dren. Go on to the Senate. He writes out a slip of paper, hands him the writ, and tells him, go off to the Senate, present this to them, and get this gold for our party here for their expenses. You can see on the writ, Charvalco, that there is a 100 gold payout.
That would be 100 gold for all of us to split.
Yes, 100 gold for you all to split.
That's a lot of money, isn't it?
It's a lot of money, but you did kind of help save the city.
Yeah.
We get 20 gold each.
Charvalco had a whole fight in his head. Like, he was ready for you to say, you get 5 gold for the party. Like, he had everything ready to argue about.
That's fair.
And he's just, what? So hold on.
I did.
The whole my shower this morning was about arguing about this.
Xavier, he hates admitting anything along those lines, but at the same time, he's not going to completely deny your hand in helping. Despite him begrudgingly doing so, he knows the value that you have already done. The fact that he's honestly working with you against your backgrounds as a paladin, that's big. That's big. I wish to hear back from you. That is part of this deal. I need to hear back from you. He gives you a small oval jewel. You can get in contact with me using this crystal.
I'll take it and I'll hand it to Goonie.
Hand it to the boy.
This is
the child.
Yeah, give it to the child. It's like
I give it to the child. Just here you go.
All the kids are getting all the cool gadgets.
If we act like it's normal, then nobody will know.
He understands this stuff way better than we do.
He just takes it and puts it in his pocket. He's not commenting on it at all.
Kids really get technology these days.
And then I say to him, now say thank you to the nice man.
Thank you.
Good job, son.
Still not my dad.
He's like, he
That's what you think.
Mom?
Keep raising a good son there.
So about Schmigley, is he going to be able to stay at the lighthouse? Schmigley, do you want to stay at the lighthouse?
Schmigley seemed like you wanted to stay at the lighthouse.
I mean, I grew up in the lighthouse. My parents raised me in it.
He's never left the lighthouse. This is the first time he's left the lighthouse. There's a lot of firsts for this guy today. He's like, I woke up and thought it was going to be like every day before. Yeah. And then a rift opened up in the sky, and now I'm here.
Now he's in front of the man who is the head of the Paladins, losing his mind.
I've spent my entire life in the Imperial City, and I mean, I've dedicated my life to the upkeep of the lighthouse, but I don't know if I'm quite fit for it. Quite frankly, I'm a bit afeared of the crystal now. You may not have seen it as you left, but there's a streak of black in the crystal. That's why I don't think that the crystal is going to work anymore.
Schmigley, what would you choose to do?
I mean, I suppose I would want to help whoever is going to be maintaining the lighthouse, the man that's supposed to come in, but after that, I don't know.
You spoke highly of your teachers before.
Well, yes, Schmigley, you don't have to be an adventurer, but perhaps we could take you to meet Professor Black, and maybe you could work with him.
The neurons are firing off in his brain, and he thinks about it, and he's like, that would be quite a fantastic opportunity for me, actually. I mean, if you don't mind escorting me. I mean, I'm still no fighter, but if I'm not a burden to you, I would love to tag along. And if you're heading towards the Crescent Moon Institute, it would be even quite an adventure leaving the Imperial City.
Well, that settles it then. You'll come with us. You don't have to sign the contract. You're not fighting or anything.
He immediately brings Jeff Buffgate into a full-bred hug and just squeezes you.
Yeah, oh, this again. Okay.
This again.
Oh, you don't know how excited this makes me. My goodness, I've always had an eye for adventure, but never a raisin. And, well, you're giving me that chance. Thank you. He just beams at you all. Is there anything else you wanted to talk to Xavier Darloc about before you leave?
If everybody leaves the room, I'm just going to stay in there. I'm going to do the thing I did earlier where it's like, damn it, where'd the guy go? And I'm just going to stay in the room, if I can, for a second with Xavier.
That is possible. I'll tell you what, give me a stealth 2 perception against everyone.
Oh, I want to do this.
You want to do... So both of you are hanging back as the rest of the group is, shuffling off.
Can I could make just an actual stealth check. That way he doesn't know I'm in there.
So that Goonie does not know?
Yeah.
That is up to you. If you don't want Goonie to see you stay behind, then make a stealth roll.
19.
There's no way I would
know.
That's fine. That totally works. I suppose in my mind that I am alone with Xavier, and I imagine that from us first entering this part of the city, when I used Disguise Self, that it's been an hour and it's faded, so now I'm no longer a child and I'm standing in front of him.
Okay.
So it just faded.
Right?
Yeah. And he sees me as a gnome standing in front of him, and I am incredibly apprehensive because I'm supposed to be looking for him, but I don't know if he actually knows who I am.
He sees you morph, and immediately he was sitting down for a second.
You were a child.
And yeah, immediately, he sees
now
you,
you're smaller than a child.
He sees your ears grow longer and pointier, and your skin tone kind of changes, and your eye shape kind of rounds out. And he sees you noticeably change in front of him, and he bolts out of his chair. Who are you?
Hey. Who I am is not important. I still signed the contract. I'm part of whatever it is that is going on here. I don't have a problem with any of that.
He kind of just he looks at you. He's like, madam, why did I overlook a child signing a contract? My God, it's been a long day. It's been a long day.
I was told by a friend, and he looks out the window. And he actually takes his goggles down. He's had his goggles on the whole time. And he's got tears in his eyes. And he's like, I was told you might know where someone named Ileana might be.
Ileana? I know that name.
Do you know who she is?
You see him pause for a second, and he goes through a few of his scrolls on his desk. He's not necessarily the most organized of sorts by any means. But he shuffles through a few bits, and a few people coming from the nations of United Freedom. What with the Civil War going on there's quite a few people looking to gain embassy and are escaping from there. Quite a few bright minds, and Eliana was among those names. But it seems that she did not spend much time here in the city. She stayed here for a few days and left here about a fortnight ago. She was going towards Lil Sur and possibly embarking from there.
This whole time he hasn't moved. He's just staring out the window. Xavier can see that his eyes are have this whiteness to them. He wipes the tears away, puts his goggles back up, and all he says is, "Thank you, I really appreciate it." And he does a curt bow and then rushes out of the room. And he does disguise self as he turns the handle to leave the room.
He watches you as you leave. Charvalko would see this. He has a perplexed look on his face.
As Goonie leaves, I will approach. I'll remove my hat, and I will...
So, after you all left, this child turns into a gnome in front of Xavier Darloc, leaves the room and changes back into a child, and then out of nowhere, out of the books, here comes Charvalko, and Xavier his hand is on his sword at this point.
And I'll put my hands up like, sir, I just have a question.
He recognizes you, and he's like, why did you hide?
I didn't want Goonie to see me. I'll put my hat...
His grip on his sword loosens, but his palm is still on the butt of the sword.
I put my hat over my heart and lower my head a little bit. I have no family. I don't know my parents. My grandparents have either died or been killed. I just saw my best friend laying dead on the ground today. You have provided me with an opportunity I can't turn down, and I have one more request.
His hand comes off of his sword, and he slowly eases into his chair. Speak.
Is there any way that you could resurrect him? I would forego payment. I'm sure that doesn't mean much to you, but coming from the Glums, that would mean a lot to me. He has a brother, a younger brother. I don't know if he's alive or not, and it's just them. If he's alive, this child will have no one to look after him.
Give me a persuasion. Sorry. Give me a persuasion. Straight.
That's a natural 19. But I think that's minus one. So it's an 18.
Is this a man worth saving?
Yes. This is a child worth saving.
Okay. You said you found him. Where was he?
He was outside of the Glums.
You give him a description of your neighbor Fargo.
Shaggy, blonde hair, freckles. He's missing a shoelace from one of his boots. I took it.
Very well. I know Cardinal Albatross personally. I may be able to have him revivify your friend. He passed in the battle, yes?
Mm-hmm.
You're able to give him more direct details of where at the Glums you found him, basically giving him a few
corner streets, landmarks,
and this is a large city, so you're able to give him that vital information. Like he looks at you. He's like, "We'll have to forego your payment. It's no simple order trying to bring someone back from the dead."
I would do anything.
I will speak to Cardinal Albatross, and we will find your friend, and we'll bring him to the temple and see what we can do. I promise you that.
Thank you. And I will give him a genuine salute.
He returns it.
And I'll put my hat back on and walk out the door.
After we walk out and they start the situation inside, Schmigley has been jumping up and down, off the walls, because he's so excited. And I'm going to look down at him, more of a steeled gaze, and tell him, the wild is no place for an intellect. I will protect you as much as I can, but this isn't a vacation.
He shrinks a little bit. You can see his shoulders drop, and he's like, sorry, I didn't mean to get ahead of myself, but just seems like such a great opportunity. And if today has anything to say about it, there are many dangers out in the world that I quite know nothing about. I thank you for your words.
I will keep you safe, and don't lose your joy. I just want you to be ready.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
And then real quick, I turn to Goonie, now my child again.
Yes, mother.
He needs a stern punishment.
Dren sees this kid just walk out past after all of these adults, and then, he kind of looks at him sideways, just like, what the fuck? This kid left everybody else before.
I had to use the bathroom.
Yeah, and then, so I, hey, Goonie. Is this going to be a thing? Like when we are traveling in town? Because if this is going to be a thing, we got to work something out. Like a system. Like a backstory.
It's funny because he looks up at you blankly like a child because he's like trying to think about it. But as Goonie, he's just like, yeah, honestly, I didn't really have a plan. I just
a child with a deep.
It made the most sense.
300-year-old gruff voice.
Oh my god!
It made the most sense. Yeah, I'm kind of just playing it by ear, so we can try and figure something out. Maybe before we get to the next spot, because I gotta be honest, guys, I can't do this all the time.
We can find some practical disguises.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would work. That would totally work.
A big fancy hat like Charvalco's, or I'm sure I've got plenty of like cloth and stuff over at Buffgate's.
Do you got something to cover tattoos?
Oh yeah. You
said you're outfitting us, correct?
Yes.
As far as I know, also have Ed Charvalco comes out of nowhere. Have access.
What the?
He it's still so off-putting because he's a child. It's kind of like it's like a child with grown-up reactions, right? Like really mature reactions.
What the fuck?
And I realized that you had to have been in the room. I'm just like looking at you, and I'm completely quiet.
I won't look at you at all. I'll just say, as far as I know, we also have access to the armory.
Yes.
And training.
We could train Schmigley.
Schmigley needs a little bit.
I will hand.
That would be cool.
He needs a little bit of training
to
get prepared.
What kind of bow do you use?
Short bow or long bow. I have a long bow.
Is it as tall as you, or a foot taller?
It's gonna be about as tall as me.
I mean, I might need some training as well. I can do some magic, but
Your finger guns have been better than my swords have been.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that.
If you guys need training, I can show you guys some stuff, like the basics.
Maybe we'll train up.
Let me see your bow tonight before we
I'm gonna take off my bow.
Turn in. Yeah.
Oh, you're a child. I'm not giving you the bow until. I don't want you walking around the Paladins area with my massive 6-foot bow.
Yeah, when we get back to the Rusty Coat Hanger, and just let me take the bow for the night.
Yeah, but Buffgates is on the way to the Rusty Coat Hanger, so we can grab some stuff while we're there.
Yeah, you guys can crash in my room there.
Well, the lighthouse is still mine. You're more than welcome to stay there the night as well.
It is dark now, isn't it?
It's starting to get dark.
It is dark.
It's definitely like it's twilight at this point. Like 30 more minutes is going to be full night.
I'll pull out one of the cultist daggers and hand it to Schmigley for free, because I did try and sell it to him.
He is very frightened of it. He looks at the dagger, and you can see the whites in his eyes get large.
I lean into Charvalco and like, do you have like a sheath for that or something?
I hand it to him in the sheath.
Okay.
And I'll look at him, and I'll just say, Schmigley, you made the right move. You have nothing to fear. And I think you deserve this.
He slowly takes it from out of your hands, and he unsheathes it for a second and shudders. But see a resolve cross his face as he puts the dagger back in his sheath, and he puts it at his side. And he nods at you, and I thank you kindly for that. And he crosses his fingers above his head, and here's to hoping that Tessia won't make me have to use it, right? At this point, you leave the main complex of IHOP towards the gates. You pass by Lydia, and she gives you a very slight nod as you leave.
I hand her a business card.
She takes it.
She's the elf that was at the front.
She was the elven guard at the front.
And I give her a little wink.
And finger guns.
Give me
Don't finger gun her.
Persuasion, if you would, please.
Don't finger gun her. That
I
would kill
know
her.
I'm walking into the wrong house here.
Oh no!
What?
That was a 3 on the die. So that's
okay,
8.
what's your modifier?
8. That's 8 total.
What did you get?
Dude, she loved it. She hit a 1 and she loved it. Or she hit a 20 and now we're fighting her.
Now we're fighting her.
Oh shit.
Oh, I've been rolling so low. I rolled a 2 for Lydia. Lydia,
she shudders in awe.
It's just a really awkward, like, yeah, but it still worked apparently.
Hold on, no. She taps you on the shoulder and gives you your business card back. It's her address.
Oh, God.
You nailed it. Fucking nailed it, dude.
I tuck it away.
I guess paladins
Let's
don't really
go.
get a lot
He's
of
a
action.
panty dropper.
My goodness.
Go Buffgate.
He is the bard of the group. I mean, come on.
He went to college.
He went to Harvard.
Let's be honest, guys. Buffgate is a business mogul.
That's true.
Dude,
He's like the Matthew
he has
McConaughey
that
of this
money
world.
that just makes him attractive.
Exactly. You know, at some point, money is what makes you desirable.
I love that his terrible wink
And the bougie
was the endearing thing. She was like, everyone else is so smooth, and he's just not.
And that's what
I must have like hit my head on like the pole or something. I look back, wink, ding.
It's just so, loves it. Yeah, she loved it.
She giggles a little bit, just.
She's used to all the paladins like flexing their muscles and stuff. Remember? And it's annoying.
Never been around a man that
For
is
all the
as,
audience members
confident and
listening.
sure of himself as Jeff Buffgate. That's for damn sure.
Or is uncoordinated.
Nice guys do win sometimes.
She's like, oh my gosh,
Even
look
if
at that
it's
lack
in
of motor
fantasy world.
Damn
functions.
straight. Cheers to that, sir.
On that note,
But yeah, actually, I do believe on that as you are leaving the gates of IHOP.
Anybody know where we can get some pancakes?
we all walk into the setting sun, and it freeze frames as we jump in the air,
and your heels
and we hear us
connect.
click. Yes, exactly.
me, my heavy equipment jumping in.
As you leave from IHOP and on to your next preparations, we're going to go ahead and end it here.
Once Upon a Die is Cody White as our DM, Jonathan Curran is Goonie Makeshift, Grace Lee is May Lay, Justin Tuthill is Halen Van Lichtenstein, Austin Wolf is Charvalco, and myself, Sean McCallan, is Jeff Buffgate. Music is licensed by Dark Fantasy Studios. Additional credits can be found in the episode description. Don't forget to check out our social media pages on Instagram and TikTok at Once Upon a Die, and our Reddit channel, r/OnesUponADie, where you can comment, post your theories, or if you just want to chat. We'd love to hear how we can make a better listening experience for you. Thank you for listening, and until next time, have some fun and roll some ones.